And we're live. Woo-hoo. And this week we have the amazing Piret on the show, who doesn't generally use a surname anymore. She's so cool. And she interviewed me on her show about male happiness. And now I'm returning the favour on the Oh No, Not Another Live show. Christelle is travelling. She's flying across the Atlantic to see her husband this week. So she won't be joining us, but I think we've probably got enough to talk about. So, Piret, can you start by saying how you became a happiness expert and what kind of things you help people with?
Oh, yeah, Tim, thank you for having me in your show.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah, let's get right into it. So my name is Piret, and happiness expert. You are asked, like, how I became happiness expert. So that's the story. I was born happy. The way I say it, the way I remember, I was always being happy. And I started questioning, like, well, why don't other people feel the same way? Or why can't they just have that from inside? So I started, later on, I started studying more into happiness. But it was interesting for me since I was about 15, I was more aware of it already.
Yeah.
But the way I saw things were a little bit different than other people saw it. And then when I was 24, I got just a basic life coaching certificate. And now, past 5 years, I have focused more just on happiness. I got all the certificates and training and learning just basically on happiness, trying to learn how I can teach other people what I know naturally.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you the $1 million question that some people, well, I think a lot of people might think this question has an obvious answer, but I'm not sure it does. What is happiness?
I think what society thinks what happiness is now is actually wrong.
Yeah.
Because people look from happiness outside and they think what happiness is that you don't feel any other emotions. That's another misbelief, that you're just always happy. You don't feel any sadness or fear. That's unrealistic. That means that you're not human. You can't be without other emotions. You need all the other emotions. And one other misbelief or misconception that people have, they mistaken happiness and luck.
Yeah.
I think like winning a lottery ticket or getting the promotion and all those is happiness. So it's not really. So that's a little bit different. Happiness is when you genuinely have positive attitude towards life and you can maintain it most of the time of your life. Most of the time you're happy. And then you feel those other feelings when they need to be needing them. Like when you're scared of something or you're sad and something happens, you're sad. But most of the time you feel good, you feel positive, you look for positive outcomes and positive solutions. And you also, if something happens, you don't get discouraged, you find a positive way out.
Yeah. Okay. So what would you say to somebody in the medical profession, say, who somebody comes to them and says, I'm feeling depressed or I'm not happy in my life? I know there's a kind of two different things, but and then they prescribe medication as the solution to that. Do you think that medication has a place in making people happy, or do you think that that's a bit of a side, I don't know, a distraction, let's say?
Mm-hmm. I don't think medication can make people happy.
Yeah.
It's not going to make people happy. It might solve the situation there now. Depends how medical it goes. Like if it's really medical issue, they can help that hormone regulation or something like this. But basically, if it's just mental or something that's has to do with your thoughts, the medication then just covers up the real issue. You're just taking medication, but you're not getting the counseling, you're not getting the help. So you're not dealing, it takes the pain and sadness maybe away temporarily, but it doesn't take away the reason. And you're still unhappy or depressed, but you cover the symptoms.
Yeah. So what are some of the techniques you use with your clients to help them become happier or to become more in a positive mindset? Is it mindset thing, or is it like, do you talk to them? You're not giving them drugs, thankfully, by the sound of things. So
No,
what kind of things do you do with your clients to help them become
no.
happier?
Yeah. So mostly that mindset is one thing as well. It's just the way you feel most of the time.
Yeah.
But that your thoughts are really important, but not just thoughts. People think like just thinking happy. Okay, I'm just thinking happy and now I'm
Yeah.
gonna be happy. No, I don't believe in that. Because if you don't know what the happiness feels like, then you doesn't matter how many happy thoughts you think, you're not gonna be happy. So I've mostly first I focus on for you to learn what the happiness feels like, and then I add happy thoughts to it, and then I focus on you to find out what is that makes you happy. And I also figure out like what are the I call them gatekeepers. There's 5
Yeah.
different gatekeepers. Each person has their own, and see what are those that hold them back from being happy.
So what are some examples of those gatekeepers that are stopping people from being happy then? Typically.
One actually one of the biggest one is social acceptance,
Yeah.
because people are used to everybody's coming together and they communicate and connect by telling the sad stories or complaining or something like this. They don't really come together and cheer for each other and talk about all the good things. They see it's bragging when somebody comes together and starts talking about all the things. Not everything is good, and no person has everything good in their life.
Yeah.
There's still problems that they paying bills, taking care of children, taking care of animals, taking care of parents. Like there's so many things daily life that we deal with. But most of the time, you can be happy, and there's always sometimes some things in your life, in your daily life, there are happy things that happen.
Yeah.
So you can come together and talk about that instead. But right now, it's still less socially acceptable. So people are scared to do it. So I'm trying to make it more socially acceptable to people to talk about when they are happy as well, or the positive things about in their life.
So do you think that some societies and some places are happier than other, or more conducive to happiness than other places?
I think there definitely is
Yeah.
different societies. Even actually, you traveled a lot, so you've seen how a
Yeah.
lot of the countries where they have less things, but they don't think that they need more things to be happy. So if they
Yeah.
have those basic things, they already feel happy and they can enjoy life with the things they have, instead of trying and stressing out for the things that they don't have, because they don't know that they don't have those things. So that helps out.
Yeah, I think I heard the sound of a bee in here, but if I suddenly start running around with my arms around in the middle of this, it's because there's a wasp. I can hear it, but I can't see it. So
You need my cat, Tim. You need my cat. My cat can catch mosquitoes from the house.
oh, well, that's
Yeah,
so
a
interesting.
special cat. First time I saw her doing it, I was like, "Oh my god, I scored so good."
You could start selling her to kill mosquitoes in Africa or something, like cure malaria. Let's talk about food and diet and stuff. Do you think there are particular foods that are more helpful in helping somebody keep in a happy state, or do you think diet's not really relevant?
I think food is important in parts like what not to eat. And right
Yeah,
now, all the crap that they're selling, because it's hard to make a good decision if you go to the store and there's just basically so much unhealthy options, and they look good
yeah,
and they taste good. And some of them I like as well. I think as maybe 10% of my food, what I eat is unhealthy food still because of the taste, and sometimes I need it.
yeah,
But you go in a grocery store and there's the opposite. There's 90% of the food. I wish all this food would be healthy for us. I love food. I
yeah,
love food, and like I would eat all those. I was just going in a store another day, and I was like wishing that all the things would be healthy for me.
yeah.
But it
So,
is important. It is important to how you feel, because when you eat those unhealthy foods, you feel you're not as healthy. Basically, not as healthy. And if you're not as healthy, it decreases your feeling of happiness.
yeah, okay. Um, so what kind of, well, I mean, I know it's easy to say don't eat unhealthy foods, but what are there any foods that you or people maybe think are healthy, but actually aren't very good, at least in terms of their mind, their well-being, at least? Any
Some of
people?
those foods.
Yeah. Something. Are there any examples of things that people maybe think are healthy foods, but actually aren't, at least as far as
Oh,
mindset?
for example, all those fake meats now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say that's healthy for you, but it actually it's made out of chemicals. You know,
Yeah.
you're putting different chemicals, just a different type of chemicals in your body again. So
Yeah.
I would think that natural, if you do eat meat, then still natural meat will be better than
Yeah.
the fake meat.
Yeah.
That's for
Okay.
sure.
So let's get back to happiness. Let's get back to happiness. If somebody's had some major negative event in their life, so they've lost a spouse or they lost one of their parents or something like that, what sort of advice would you give them in terms of getting themselves back onto a happy path in their life?
Mhm. Well, first of all, I'll tell them to take the time to grieve as long as they need to.
Yeah.
First of all, that's the main thing. That's like, you don't need to get to happiness right on away from there. First, you have to process the loss, feel the sadness, feel the anger, feel all the emotions that come with it.
Yeah.
So first, you have to get, because if you hold those back, they will still stay in your body. Yes, you have to process them through your body, process them to your mind, let all this be inside you. And I think next best step for that is to acknowledge that that person or that loss that you experienced, they the energy is still around and they want you to be happy.
Yeah.
So from that point, you will start to live not by missing them, but celebrating what the time that you had with them, and think of like how would they want you to go on, you
Yeah.
know, because they want you to go on positive and good way. And occasionally you're still gonna have those moments when you're gonna miss them, and that's, you have to think that's okay as well. But they always gonna, the way I see it, they always gonna be around with energy. And I know some people still talk with the people they lost, and
Yeah.
that's fine as well. You know, it's in your mind. They talk with them in their mind. Some people talk even out loud. Some people go to the um, cemetery to talk with them, or have a special place where they talk with them. So that's normal. You consider it normal, but you can't stay there forever.
Yeah.
So you still have to find the ways to find the happy feelings and still do the happy things. and think about how that person would want you to live your life now.
Yeah. So, with any of your clients, I mean, not meaning to get too into your business personal records, but have you had any clients who you really couldn't help to become happy? Do you think there are some people who are destined never to be happy? I mean, you say that personally you're somebody who's kind of born happy and that's your default mindset. Do you think that there are people who really just can't be happy? Do you think that's a thing? Or do you think that everybody with enough work can become into a happier mindset?
The way I say, everybody who wants to be happy
Yeah.
can be happy. But there is people, and I want them to be my clients, but I know that they're not going to be my clients. They don't want to be happy. I've had
Yeah.
people telling me that they don't want to be happy, straightforward. And I learned from that as well that there are people who just don't want to be happy. They're not ready for that. They have too much anger and everything. And but people who want to be happy, yes, they can definitely be happy. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
So it's, I mean, I think in some ways happiness is a choice. Would you say that, like, I mean, obviously, depending on what's happening to you and your circumstances, I think for everybody, there's times when you're not going to be happy. But I think for a lot of people, they choose not to be happy. Do you agree with that statement?
I think kind of like a choice, but it also they lack the knowledge.
Yeah.
They think happiness is all from outside, like you're saying, there's a choice. But you have to make the choice by things that you actually know. So you have to know what you're choosing.
Yeah.
Because, like we said before, like just thinking happy thoughts, it will help a little bit,
Yeah.
but you need to know how it feels like. You need to know what is that makes you feel happy and do more of it.
Yeah. So it is a case, in a way, of identifying those activities that you do that make you feel happy. Is it as simple as that in some ways?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the things that I teach as well, to pay attention to what makes you feel happy.
So when you're working with a client, how, like, they may come to you and say, well, I don't know what makes me happy. Like, what kind of advice would you give them? I know that might be a bit of a stupid question, but are
No,
they, like, they're genuinely, they want to be happy, but they don't really know how to identify what in their life makes them happy. What advice
mhm.
would you give in terms of getting them in the mindset to say, realize that they've actually been happy doing something?
Yeah, no, it's not a stupid question at all because yes, there's a lot of people don't know what makes them feel happy.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a lot of them, and or they don't even know what it feels like because they've
Mm,
been so much in like sadness or anger, so they don't even know what it feels like. So first thing to see how it feels like is really really simple. So just smile. You see, that
yeah.
thing that you're feeling when you just make that little smile, little chuckle, that moment what you felt in that little moment, that's what happiness feels like.
Yeah.
And whatever else makes you feel like that as well, you have to start noticing it. But for a lot of people, it is hard in the beginning to start figuring out what makes them feel happy. And like you said, you asked before, what's the client that I couldn't help? A lot of times what when people or the clients, the people that they surrounded with,
Yeah.
is there people who like negative people and unhappy people, they're surrounded with those people, they fall back all the time, and you have to bring them back up again if possible. And some of them, they just fall out because they can't keep on coming because of the people they're surrounded with just bring them up back down, and they just stop coming or something like this because of the people don't let them come. Because I've seen changes, I've seen so many positive changes in a person and then they fell down, and then I find out like, well, there was something from outside, somebody, not something, but someone from outside who was keep on bringing them down so they didn't fall off.
Yeah. So are you? I've actually written on the last thing I wrote in LinkedIn, and it's a long post, was about almost against this kind of like you are the average of the 5 people you hang around with. Not because I disagree with the sentiment that hanging around with like negative, miserable people all the time, all your friends, it's a terrible idea. But I have seen it taken to the other extreme where people are almost like, we have to eliminate every negative person from our life. And it's like, if some person is negative, then we must get rid of them or else we will be unhappy. I'm guessing you're not of that far, but you are of the, if people are in a mainly negative group, then they should be moving away from that if possible, if they want to try and be happier, so to speak.
Well, some of them you can't move away because some of them family and all the things. And if they're really, really bad for you, like abusive or something like this, then you do have to completely move away.
Yeah.
But with other people that you still have to be around and they're not always negative, but just a little bit negative and like this, you set boundaries.
Yeah.
Some of the things that you don't allow them to get in your mind. And if they say something negative, you just block it out by saying like, well, that's their opinion. That's not my opinion or something like this. You set boundaries with those people. You don't have to eliminate them completely. But if there's some people who actually cause damage to your life, then those, if possible, you do have to get them out of your life.
Yeah. So slightly going on, like this is like a weirder thing, but I might as well follow on. So would you say there is such a thing as toxic positivity? Because I think there is. There are people who are, but they're not really happy per se, but they are just, their whole thing is about like, we're just not going to mention anything negative at all. What's your view on that kind of person as such?
Yeah, well, that's what I said in the beginning. That's not realistic.
Yeah.
That's not realistic. You still have to you still get angry at things. You still have days that things don't go exactly the way you were planning. And then you just have to you have those moments that you get upset about that. But later, happy personality, you get upset about it now, at that moment, but then you find a positive solution afterwards.
Yeah.
But you still feel all those other emotions. You can't just say, like some other people say, it's all just following around. Everything's always perfect. No, that's not realistic. It's just but the way I see positivity and happiness, all those things happen, but you can get through them easily. You don't get stuck on those things. You don't dwell on those things. You just move towards okay, this happened. I have to deal with the situation to get back in feeling good again, because you want to feel this positive feeling of most of the time. So everything negative that happens, you want to deal with it as fast as possible so you can feel good again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if, let's say, the world, for some reason, decides tomorrow to make Piret world emperor, and you are going to be in charge of the entire world, what are the big changes that you would make to make the world a happier place, or more able to feel happiness, at least?
Oh, that's a really good question. I would actually, we can make the law to make everybody to be happy, because that's impossible, because you have to change their minds and everything. So would actually do positive, they do a lot of negative and fear-based propaganda.
Yeah.
So I would do a lot of positive propaganda.
Yeah. I mean, it's surprising.
Yeah.
Very rare for governments to do anything positive, really. Possibly when there's an election coming, but even it's never usually negative to the other side.
Not as much actually negative, but fear. Right
Yeah.
now, they use fear-based, like it's not negative, but it's fear-based. They want you to be scared, so you would have to follow their orders. But they make you scared, so you'll follow their orders. Pretty much, that's what's going on right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm starting to get back into asking the questions I used to ask on this show. I used to ask. So this is a totally random question, nothing to do with happiness. So
Okay.
if you can spin it with happiness, then that would be thing. But if you had to describe yourself using 3 animals, what 3 animals would you pick?
Ooh, 3 animals. Oh, I would actually say. I would say. Can I say 4?
Yeah, if you want to.
I would choose male lion, female lion, rooster, and a dog.
Okay, so
So
what?
male lion, because male lions are just chill and they relax and they just roar.
Yeah,
They're not the one who go to hunt.
yeah,
They just look pretty with their big hair.
yeah,
So, but the female lion is actually the one who hunts and runs around and does all the running things and does
yeah,
all the things that need to get done, taking care of the kids and all the things like that. And rooster, because it's in a yard, like in charge of the things. So I like to be in charge of the thing as well. And rooster is
yeah,
kind of like walking around the yard, taking care of the charge. And dogs, obviously, because of the happiness, because of the running around all happy, doing all the happy stuff, like seeing like, ooh, where I can run and what I can do now.
Yeah, I had a well, I still do now occasionally. I ask that question instead of the terrible "What do you do?" question at networking events, simply because you get interesting answers from people about what animals, and also it always amazes me. Some people will answer the question straight away, and they'll say like donkey, puffin, and I'm like, what? And then other people will think about it like you did. So yeah, that's interesting.
Have you ever answered that question in the show?
I have. I have. Last time I answered it, it was panda, cobra, and was it meerkat? Something like that. Some other sloth. So I think I'm getting rid of the sloth tendencies a bit. Like getting round to doing things is like always difficult. But yeah, it's because it's nice as well in that most people know animals, at least some animals. I've encountered some animals in their life. It's not like describe yourself using TV shows or something where somebody could say some show I've never heard of. And it's like, oh, okay. So at least with animals, most people have heard of most animals. So back to you and your business. Let's say somebody's watching this on live or on YouTube in the replay, and they're like, oh, she seems to make a lot of sense, and I feel I need to be happier in life. How can they get in touch with you? How can they use your services? Have you got a book, for example, that you can recommend?
Yeah, I do.
Written. So how can they find out about Piret?
Well, the easiest part is to go on the website, which is www for sure, and then bypiret.com. So that's the easiest way to get in touch with me. Also, I have my own YouTube channel. This right now is Piret Happiness Expert.
Yeah.
And I actually signed up for Twitter now with the same name as well. Piret Happiness Expert. So that's new for me. I'm learning about Twitter and how to be on there, present on there as well. So if anybody has Twitter account, follow me because that's something new I'm doing.
Well, I think I followed you from the account.
Yes, yes, you did.
And my own one. So it's, but yeah, a lot of people are moving off Twitter now. So you're the person boosting up the numbers for Elon Musk. So it's interesting. So why did
Oh,
you?
and a book. You asked about the book.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I suddenly
Yes.
remember you got a book. Actually, let's talk about
Yeah.
your book.
So the book is Joyful Life Jumpstart.
Yeah.
And it's on Amazon. I sell it on Amazon same way. It's like you said, I just go with my first name, Piret.
Yeah.
So that's in the title as well, just my first name. So
Yeah. And who's that book for? Is that for people who are kind of just interested in happiness, but not quite wanting to pay somebody as a client? Is that a good assessment?
that's actually a good book to start with your journey. That's why I sell Jumpstart. So it goes through your past. You kind of analyze your past. You get yourself straight with what your situation is now, and you make your plans for the future. So it's kind of fill-in book. You can actually write in there. So, and it gives you a lot of different ways how to think about money or jealousness or some other topics as well. Procrastination tells you about how to think differently about all those daily things.
Yeah.
Fear.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks so much for being on the show. And hopefully I won't do my usual thing and screw the outro up by playing the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing, which occasionally I've done. So it's been great to have you on the show. And thanks for the people watching. And,
thank you, Tim. It's really great. Thank you for doing your show as well. It's important.
Yeah. And we haven't got any shows for a few weeks because Christelle's over in the UK and I'm going to be over in the US soon. We're not deliberately.
So you changed location.
We're not. It wasn't a deliberate thing. I'm going to the 20 Books to 50K conference in Las Vegas in a couple of weeks. And
that's awesome.
Yes. So anyway, thanks so much.
You can I was just thinking, you just can reverse locations, but do the show from reverse locations.
Well, I used to be really diligent and take my laptop away and do every week when I was away as well. There's many older show when I'm in a hotel room with a laptop with dodgy Wi-Fi, but I'm just getting too old for that sort of thing. So I generally just pulled all the shows until I'm back. So there won't be. I think it's November the 16th we're back. We have a guy talking about cruise ships and entertaining on cruise ships and that kind of stuff. Just something totally different.
You're going to do something that's fun and that's what I see what happiness is. You're going to go do something that makes you feel happy.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, thanks, Piret, and thanks to all the people.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody who watched. Have a good day. Bye.
This is what God requires.